Today we are trying to take up the history of English literature but in a nutshell. Now, as we all know, the history of English literature is a very wide thing, and I'm going to take up just 14th to 16th century. Just a brief look at the ages. Now, if you look at all the ages, starting from Chaucer, definitely. So, Chaucer was in the 14th century, and then there are some writers in 15th century, although you don't have very good production there. Then we have the Shakespearean age, which is ascribed to the 16th century. Now, 17th century is divided into two parts. First, you have the 17th century up to the Restoration, that is 1660, and the second part is from 1660 to 1700, which is 17th century after the Restoration. Then we have the 18th century, or the Neoclassical age. Briefly, it is somewhere between 1700 to 1798, the Romantic age, which is from 1798 to 1832, Victorian age, which is from 1832 to 1901. Now, after 1901 starts the 20th century, and 20th century literature is divided into the pre-war and the post-war. And when I talk about the pre-war and the post-war literature, what I mean the First World War and the Second World War. Now, let's try to look at literature age-wise. 14th century England first. So, 14th century England witnessed several major incidents. So, the first one was the 100 Years' War that had taken place between 1337 to 1453. It was basically an age of chivalry, and there was this Black Death, the pestilence of 1348, which had wiped away a major part of the population. Then there was the Peasants' Revolt, there was the labor unrest of 1381, and besides this, there was definitely the corruption in the church. Now, Chaucer's age, like most historical ages, was an age of transition. This transition implies a shift from the medieval to the modern times, the emergence of the English nation from the Dark Ages to the Age of Enlightenment. Though some elements associated with modernity were coming into prominence, yet mostly and essentially the age was medieval, unscientific, superstitious, chivalrous, religious-minded, and backward in most respects. Now, if you look at the major writers of the 14th century, it was Chaucer. The Canterbury Tales he had written. He wrote Troilus and Cresside, the Book of the Duchess, Legend of Good Women. Chaucer was definitely called the morning star of the Renaissance. Langland, he wrote Piers the Plowman, Sir Gawain, and the Green Knight. Then we have Gower, who was referred by Chaucer as Moral Gower. He wrote Mirror de l'Homme in French, Vox Clementis in Latin, Confessio Amantis in English. Then there was John Barbour, who wrote The Bruce. John Wycliffe, who was called the Morning Star of the Reformation, and he made the first translation of the Bible. Chaucer's age, the prose in his age was basically the translations of Boethius and treatises in the astrolabe written by Chaucer himself. Besides that, John Wycliffe's translation of the Bible is classified as the prose in that age. The Travels of Sir John Mandeville also is classified as prose of this age. Now, coming to the 15th century, we find that most of the writers in the 15th century did not measure up to Chaucer. They were basically people who copied Chaucer for a variety of reasons. Now, the 15th century was a period of singular barrenness as regards literary production, particularly poetry. No poet of this century comes anywhere near Chaucer, who dominated the previous centuries like a colossus. We have in the 15th century a number of sons of Geoffrey, or what we call the Chaucerians, who professedly imitated the great master. Imitation in its broader implication is not a bad or despicable activity, but we find that the Chaucerians of the 15th century imitated Chaucer almost too slavishly. Now, let's have a look at these Chaucerians. They are classified as English Chaucerians and Scottish Chaucerians. And along with that, I'll tell you about the works. So, first of all, we have Thomas Occleve, also referred to as Thomas Hoccleve. He wrote certain books like La Mal Regne de T. Occleve, that is autobiographical in nature. It was all about himself. Then he wrote De Regime Principium, also translated as Regimen of Princes. Then we have John Lydgate, who wrote London Lackpenny, The Troy Book, The Story of Thebes, The Fall of Princes, The Pilgrimage of the Life of Man, Complaint of the Black Knight. Stephen Hawes, who wrote The Pastime of Pleasure or The History of Grand Amore and La Belle Pucelle. Alexander Barclay, who wrote The Ship of Fools, and John Skelton, who wrote Colin Clout, Why Come Ye Not to Court, and The Booge of Court. Now, these were the English Chaucerians, remember, and next we have the Scottish Chaucerians, which includes James I of Scotland, who wrote King Square, Robert Henryson, who wrote Testament of Cresside, and in this he recast the conclusion of Chaucer's Troilus and Cresside. Then there was William Dunbar, who wrote The Golden Targe, The Thistle and the Rose, Beauty and the Prisoner. Then we have Gavin Douglas, who wrote The Palace of Honor, and King Hart. So these are basic classifications of the English Chaucerians and the Scottish Chaucerians. Now, apart from that, there were many other works which had been written during this time, and that includes, like I said, of Hoccleve, The Governale of Princes, Lydgate, Story of Thebes, Troy Broke, Falls of Princes. And I discussed James I already, William Dunbar. His works include Dance of the Seven Deadly Sins. There was Robert Henryson, we talked about him right now, The Testament of Cresside, and Robin and Macon. Gavin Douglas, Police of Honor, translation of Aeneid, and Sir Thomas Malory's Morte d'Arthur. Now let's talk about the early Renaissance in England. The early Renaissance writers include William Tyndale, who had translated the whole of the Bible, English New Testament, in 1525. And there was another translation that came up. We are talking about basically prose, Complete English Bible of Miles Cloverdale, that came out in 1535. Then we had Cromwell's Great Bible that came up in 1539. Sir Thomas More wrote Utopia, that was originally in Latin, translated by Ralph Robinson. Then there was Sir Roger Ascham, who wrote Toxophilus, or School of Shooting, and the schoolmaster Thomas Wyatt and Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, brought out the Tottel's Miscellany. As we all know about that, our sonnets came from there. Now, looking at the Renaissance period, it's roughly said, to be between 1550 and 1660. The reign of Elizabeth I began in 1558 and ended with her death in 1603. She was succeeded by the Stuart King James VI of Scotland, who took the title James I of England as well. English literature of his reign as James I from 1603 to 1625 is properly called the Jacobean Age. Now let's look at the development of drama up to 1561. Now it's all started with the miracles, and these were subjects taken directly from the Bible, performed on the occasion of Corpus Christi, and they deal with all the mysteries taken directly from the Bible. There were 4 cycles of drama existing during that time, that was Chester, Coventry, Wakefield and York. Then we had the mysteries coming in after the miracles that dealt with the lives of saints, and these were not directly taken from the Bible, and they had interpolations also. Then the next step was morality and interludes. Now morality dealt with personified abstractions, like you had science, you had vice becoming a character, Deadly Sins, Young England, Everyman, all these were characters. So among these, the writer was John Heywood, who wrote 4 P's, and the 4 P's famously stand for a pardoner, palmer, apothecary and peddler, who were supposed to be the 4 characters in that work. Then the interludes of the 4 elements, Thersites, all these things were first written by John Heywood, and these tell us about the beginning of drama. The first performance of a play in Dunstable was in the year 1110, which was in the honor of Saint Catherine. Now, so beginning of regular comedy and tragedy started after this. So we have Nicholas Udall's Ralph Roister Doister, which is supposed to be a beginning to regular comedy, and Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton, who they had together written this book called Gorboduc, and this is supposed to be the first tragedy in the form of a play. So these 2 works signify the beginning of regular comedy and regular tragedy. Now coming to the age of Shakespeare, 1558 to 1625, let's have a look at the different forms of works which were available during this time. The non-dramatic verse included Spenser's Shepherd's Calendar, written in 1579. Then there was Amoretti, Astrophel, Epithalamium. Thomas Sackville, the Lord of Buckhurst, had written a Myrure for magistrates. Then there was Lydgate's Fall of Princes, George Gascoigne's Steel Glass. All these works may be categorized as non-dramatic verse of the age of Shakespeare. If you look at the verse during this time, Spenser's Shepherd's Calendar, The Fairy Queen, then you have Thomas Sackville's A Mirror for Magistrates, Induction, Complaint of Buckingham, and George Gascoigne's Steel Glass may be included in this category. The age of Shakespeare, we look at the drama. The university wits did a very major contribution. They made a very major contribution to the field of drama. John Lilly. Now, first of all, remember the names of the university wits: Lilly, Kidd, Peel, Marlowe. Then we have Nash, Lodge, Green. So, Lilly had written works like Campaspe, Endymion, Galatea, and Euphesius. In Euphesius, he mixed verse and prose and the world of reality and romance. Thomas Kidd wrote the Spanish tragedy, which is a Senecan play adapted to popular requirements. George Peel wrote The Arraignment of Paris, The Battle of Alcazar, the famous chronicle of King Edward I, The Love of King David, and Fair Bathsheba, The Old Wives' Tale. Christopher Marlowe wrote Tamburlaine the Great, Dr. Faustus, The Jew of Malta, Edward II. Thomas Nash wrote The Wounds of Civil War. Thomas Lodge and Robert Greene are the last ones, and Robert Greene wrote The Comical History of Alphonsus, King of Aragon, A Looking Glass for London and England. Along with Lodge, he wrote this play, The Honourable History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay, The History of Orlando Furioso, The Scottish History of James IV. Now, what he introduced was a fusion of plots and subplots, fusion of moods and worlds in one play. Now, these were certain things which the university wits brought into Elizabethan plays, which was later on improved by Shakespeare. We have Ben Jonson, who wrote The Alchemist, Volpone, The Silent Woman, John Webster, who wrote White Devil, Duchess of Malfi, John Ford, who wrote The Broken Heart, Beaumont and Fletcher, who wrote Philaster and the Maid's Tragedy, Philip Massinger, who wrote A New Way to Pay Old Debts, and James Shirley. Now, definitely there was William Shakespeare himself, who came after these university wits, and he wrote a total of 154 sonnets and 37 plays. His plays include Venus and Adonis, Lucrece, Love's Labour Lost, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Comedy of Errors, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, The Merchant of Venice, Richard II, Henry IV Part 1 and 2, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Hamlet, Antony and Cleopatra, and many more. The list goes on and on. Now, if we look at the prose in Shakespeare's age, there was John Lilly, who had written Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit, Euphues and His England, Philip Sidney's Arcadia, Lodge, Rosalind, Euphesius' Golden Legacy, Green's Pandosto and the Triumph of Time. Thomas Nash wrote The Unfortunate Traveller, or The Life of Jack Wilton. Bacon wrote Advancement of Learning, Novum Argonum, and essays on counsel civil and moral. Raphael Holinshed wrote Chronicles of England, Scotland and Ireland. Richard Hooker wrote Ecclesiastical Polity and Sidney's Apology for Poetry, and plus there was the authorized version of the Bible that came out in the year 1611. So we have completed here from 14th century to 15th and 16th, just trying to shed light on the different aspects of these particular ages. Now, the age itself is a vast thing to talk about, and there might be things which you may not find here, but still, if you have any questions, you may put it in the segment below, and I shall try my best to answer them. Thank you.